Okay, so today we're going to move on to multi-step equations. That means multi, there's going to be more. Now when we are to solve an equation, please copy these notes down. We need to isolate. What does that mean? Get the variable by itself. Isolate, get something by itself, the variable. And how do we do that? This is what we were doing in 1-1. We use inverse operations. What's another word for inverse? Opposite, that's right. So, inverse operations, if you see adding, we subtract. Multiplying, we divide. Now, when we have more than one step to do, we've got to make sure we have an organized way to do this. So please copy down these steps and then we'll show them. I'll give them to you in a couple of examples. The first, this is simplify. So if there's like terms, we're going to combine them. So let's do combine like terms. Or sometimes we might need to distribute. It's really trying to make the equation look as easy as possible. So once we've cleaned up that side, then we're going to start doing inverse operations. But now that we're in inverse operations, we're not going to do PEMDAS. We have to undo in this order. First, we undo any adding or subtracting. Then, let's do first, then we undo any multiplying or dividing. And finally, we undo any parentheses or long fraction bars. That is at the end. All right, so press pause if you need to, and make sure you have these steps to look at. Hopefully you saw what page I was on. Page 9. All right, so I'm going to just so this is on the same page. First, I need to simplify. Then I'm going to undo any adding or subtracting. Then I'm going to do any multiplying or dividing. And finally, I'll do any parentheses if there's any left, or long fraction bars. So let's take a look. Remember what we do to one side because of the properties of equality? We have to do to both sides. So can I simplify this? 3x plus 4. I don't think so. 4 doesn't have an x. So this is all simplified. Step 1's done. Now, there are two different operations here. I see an addition, and I see what's in between the 3 and the x? Multiplication. So our steps say, after I check to see if they're simplified, first undo any adding or subtracting. Well, here's a plus 4. Here's my plus 4. How do I undo plus 4? Subtract 4 from both sides. So this is gone. Now I'm not changing anything. I'm taking it away. I'm undoing it. I'm making it a 0. So now what do I have on the left-hand side? 3x. And what do I have on the right-hand side? Well, what's 19 minus 4? 15. Is x by itself yet? Nope, I still have 3 times it. What's the last step? It's a easier problem like 1, 1. I'm going to divide by 3. This cancels out. X equals 5. Now, if this all makes sense to you, go ahead and finish these problems. Otherwise, I'd like you to try them and then press pause and try them, and then you can double check by pressing play again. So I'm going to start with 5z minus 13 can't be simplified, so I'm going to get rid of the minus 13 because first I have to undo any adding or subtracting. So what's the opposite of subtracting 13? Adding 13. That's gone. 5z equals, please use your calculator. I don't want you to make mistakes on your negatives. But negative 3 plus 13 is a positive 10. Last step, divide by 5, divide by 5. Z equals 2. All right, some of you might see keep at opposite with this subtraction. I'm going to have you think of it just a little bit differently. If we are looking for inverse operations, what is the inverse of subtracting negative 9? The inverse is adding exactly what's there, a negative 9 to both sides. That's gone. I have z left on the right side. What is 17 minus 9? 8. All done. Z is 8. Now, remember the first step? I got a lot going on this right side here. But I know what 2 plus 4 is. It's 6. Minus d equals 15. Now, let's do keep at opposite on this because otherwise sometimes we do the wrong operation. So if I keep, instead of subtraction, have add a negative d, and what's the one number I can slide in here? So really I haven't done anything opposite yet. Keep add, and I just changed the subtraction to add a negative d. So now, how am I going to get rid of that 6? I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. 15 minus 6 is 9, equals a negative 1d. D is not by itself yet. Remember, there's an invisible multiplication there. So if I divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, negative 9 is d. All right, I want you to keep trying on these. This is what we'll continue working on.